Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Bongi and thank you so much for tuning into True Crime with Bongi. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the kidnapping and murder of Hannah Cornelius. This case was widely covered by the media in South Africa all the way back in 2017, and it had women all over the nation, filled with rage because it was just such a heartbreaking case. And we all know how GBV is an existing matter in South Africa and how the numbers just keep increasing instead of decreasing. So this case really had a lot of people on the edge and really just sad and angry and feeling all type of ways, and you guys will see just what I mean by that. It was very brutal and yeah, it was just heartbreaking. But before I get into it, you guys already know that I have to make my usual disclaimer that I mean absolutely no disrespect to anybody that I'm going to be talking about in this video and all the families that were and are affected by this case. This video is purely for educational purposes and all the information was gotten off of the internet and simply compiled into one video. And now let's get into it. So Hannah Cornelius was born on the 13th of February 1996 to parents William Cornelius and Anna Cornelius. Her mom was a lawyer and her dad was a magistrate, and together they had two children, which was Hannah and her brother. Hannah was described as a bright, intelligent and optimistic young lady. She also had a couple of hobbies, which included playing the piano, going to Tears, which is an animal shelter in Cape Town, and also playing a couple of sports. She went to a private high school and she matriculated with 6 distinctions and an average of 85%. So like they said, she was pretty intelligent. After high school, Hannah decided to go to Stellenbosch University to study something in the humanities faculty, which was something different because both her parents were in the law faculty, Anyway, so in 2017, Hannah was a student in Stellenbosch University. On the night of the 26th of May 2017, Hannah and her friend Cheslin Marsh decided to go out for a night of partying with a couple of friends. This is not at all unusual in the university setting because, students always want to go out and have fun with their friends, just chat and relax over a couple of drinks. It's definitely not unusual at all. So Hannah and her friend went out with a couple of friends. At around 3 a.m. Cheslin decided that he had had enough and that it was time for him to head back to his place. He had come on a skateboard because, as I had mentioned earlier, he lived nearby. So as he was about to leave, Hannah saw him and she told him not to leave. She offered him a ride actually, because she didn't think it would be safe for her friend to skateboard back to his place or walk back to his place. So Cheslin accepted the offer and the two headed out together. At around 3:23 a.m., a CCTV footage from a nearby shop shows Hannah pulling into an open field in Bird Street in Stellenbosch, which was where she was gonna drop off Cheslin. She switches her car off and the two of them continue talking, just chilling in the car. Suddenly, 4 men arrive, and this was Vernon Witbooi, Geraldo Parsons, Eben van Niekerk and Nashville Julius. They were headed to a nearby block of flats when they saw Hannah's blue and white City Golf, and they decided to approach it to see who was inside. They checked it out from a distance and walked past it as Hannah and Cheslin continued talking in the car. At around 3:32, as Cheslin was about to make his way out of the car to his flat, 2 men approached the car, and this was Geraldo Parsons and Vernon Witbooi. Geraldo had a screwdriver on him and Vernon had a knife on him. So the 2 men approached the car and immediately Geraldo attacks. He pushes his hand through an open window on Hannah's side and places a screwdriver on Hannah's chest. Cheslin grabs Geraldo's hand trying to help Hannah, but immediately Vernon opens his door and points a knife at him. So Cheslin had no choice but to let go of Geraldo's hand. Then Eben van Niekerk and Nashville Julius arrive at the scene. Cheslin is pulled out of the passenger seat and shoved between 2 men in the back, and Hannah is shoved between the 2 passengers in front. While in the car, Nashville robs Cheslin of his cell phone and 40 rands, and then he is seen leaving the scene. Then at around 3:40, the car is seen pulling out of the parking lot. Inside was Hannah, Cheslin, and the 3 kidnappers, Vernon Witbooi, Geraldo Parsons, and Eben van Niekerk. The car is then spotted about an hour later on CCTV footage at a petrol station outside Stellenbosch. Chaslin had been shoved into the boot at this point, and Hannah was in the passenger seat wearing a cream jacket. This footage would be the last time that Hannah was spotted alive. Vernon Witbooi gets out of the car and into the store. He attempts to withdraw some money from Chaslin's account but fails because Chaslin had given him a wrong PIN. So because he was given a wrong PIN, he became angry, and unfortunately Chaslin would be punished for that later on. He got out of the store and got into the car, and the group began driving along Bottle Road. Their next stop was in Kraaifontein. They opened the boot and forced Chaslin out of the boot, and Chaslin says that he remembers that at this point Hannah was very scared, and he kept asking the group what they were going to do to the two of them. The group then yelled at Chaslin for giving them the wrong PIN number and then forced him to lay down and place his head on a rock. They threw another rock on his head and he immediately lost consciousness. They then left the unconscious Chaslin Marsh for dead and drove Hannah to a secluded paintball venue in Bottle Road. While there, Hannah was raped repeatedly by the group, Geraldo Parsons being the first to do so. She suffered severe vaginal and cervical injuries during the prolonged attack. The men then grab Hannah and put her in the car, and they drive her to a small farm near a stream and a vineyard. According to Geraldo Parsons, they had planned to leave Hannah at the farm, but when she refused to climb out of the boot, Eben walked up to her and stabbed her in the neck, and then she was pulled out of the boot. Once she was out, a large rock was dropped on her head and she instantly died from the force of the blow. Her rape and murder took place sometime between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. Her body was found later on that day by two technicians who had been working on a borehole near where Hannah's body was left. After killing Hannah, Vernon, Geraldo, and Eben continued their crime spree into the next morning. At around 8 a.m. that morning, they chased down a woman who was walking to work, and when she tripped and fell, they robbed her off of her handbag and her cell phone. They were spotted again in Kales River at around 1 p.m. where they kidnapped and robbed another woman. Their car was seen on CCTV footage at around 1:12, arriving at a Shell garage in Brackenfell. Vernon then got out of the car and headed to the ATM to withdraw some money from the kidnapped woman's account, and Geraldo is seen also leaving the car heading to the ATM to meet up with Vernon. Vernon would later claim that apparently Geraldo was the orchestrator behind the whole thing. The two then withdraw 3,000 rand in total from the kidnapped woman's account, and then they head back to the car to meet up with the woman and Eben van der Kerk. A short while after this, the woman was dropped off in Bottle Road, and Eben van der Kerk was then dropped off somewhere near Stellenbosch, and they gave him 1,000 rand as payment for his help or his participation in the crime spree. At around 2 p.m., their car was spotted in Stellenbosch by an undercover police officer, and the high-speed chase began. A few moments later, a police van joined the chase and turned on the blue lights. I'll leave the link to the CCTV footages in the description box just in case you guys want to watch them. Yeah. The men then pull into the Dwars in die Weg farm and they continue driving. The detective is seen getting out of his car and chasing them on foot. They came across a closed farm gate and they obviously couldn't drive through it, so they got out of the car and set off on foot, but they were captured soon thereafter and taken into custody. Vernon Witbooi and Nashville Julius confessed to their crimes, but all four of them pleaded not guilty during the trial. But because of their confessions, they were found guilty. Eben van der Kerk, Vernon Witbooi, and Geraldo Parsons were found guilty of kidnap, robbery, rape, and murder, while the co-accused Nashville Julius was found guilty of robbery and kidnapping. Following her daughter's death, Hannah Cornelius founded the Hannah Cornelius Foundation in June of 2017. In March of 2018, Anna was found dead in shallow water by beachgoers in Scarborough, which is in Cape Town, of course. Her death was ruled an accident. Chaslin Marsh was also left deaf in one ear, and he also had to drop out of university due to the trauma that he endured that night. These are the details of the Hannah Cornelius Foundation. Feel free to go on their website and check them out, and also support them while you're at it. And that brings us to the end of today's case. If you found this video informative or you enjoyed it, feel free to click on the like button, and also don't forget to leave your case suggestions in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to check them out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And with that being said, that's it from me. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.